Have you ever really stopped to think about what happens to yesterday? I mean, really, it just slips away, right? Becomes a memory, maybe a story you tell someone. But what if that's not the end of it? What if that's not the whole story at all? What if every single day of your life doesn't just poof, vanish, but it's actually being archived, preserved, and transformed into something alive? Well, today we're going deep. We're diving into the mystical sources, especially the Holy Zohar, to unpack this absolutely mind-blowing idea that our yesterdays aren't gone, not at all. In fact, they're waiting for us.
All right, so here's our roadmap for this incredible journey. First, we're going to explore this idea of the living archive, which is where our days are all stored. Then we'll get into the anatomy of a day to see how it becomes this living thing. After that, we'll follow its path into the cosmic ledger, the spiritual wiring of time itself. From there, we'll witness the final summons, the moment all our days get called up. And finally, we'll look at the great replay, which is the soul's ultimate encounter with its own life.
Okay, so let's start with this huge mystery. We all think of time like a river, right? It just flows past us and disappears. But the mystical tradition says, nope, that's not how it works. It's not a river that gets lost. It's more like a library, a celestial vault, a living, breathing archive where absolutely nothing, not one moment, not one single breath, is ever lost. This right here is the question that kicks the whole thing off. It feels so final, doesn't it? The sun goes down, you flip the calendar, and bam, yesterday's history. We remember bits and pieces, sure, but the day itself, the whole thing, it feels like it's gone for good. Well, the sources we're looking at, they challenge that idea at its core. They say a day doesn't just end, it gets completed, it's sealed. It goes through this kind of metaphysical transformation, changing from just a period of time into a solid, eternal record that actually has its own consciousness.
And right here, these ancient texts start to lay the foundation for this absolutely staggering idea. This line suggests some kind of cosmic accounting system that's impossibly precise. It's saying our days aren't just passing by, they're being written down, documented in a divine book. But you gotta pay close attention to the wording here. Days were formed. This is not just passive note-taking. This means they're being built, constructed. They take on a shape, a substance, a real spiritual identity of their own. They're not just entries on a spreadsheet. They become their own distinct creations. Each one is a fully formed chapter in the epic story of your life.
So if a day is formed, what's it made of? And what does it turn into? This is where the whole thing goes from a beautiful metaphor to like a detailed spiritual science. We're about to break down a 24-hour period to really get how it becomes a living thing.
The Zohar drops this radical idea on us, the day entity. Okay, so think of every 24-hour cycle not just as time passing, but as a spiritual container, a vessel, just waiting to be filled. And what do we fill it with? We pour the entirety of our being into it. Every single thing we do, every word we say, every thought that flashes through our mind, and every secret motivation in our heart. And then, at the end of those 24 hours, that vessel is sealed, and it crystallizes into a totally unique spiritual being, a living testament to how you live that day with its own spiritual DNA.
This right here really lays out the whole paradigm shift. On the left, that's how we usually experience it. A day is fleeting. It turns into a fuzzy memory that changes over time, and let's be honest, most of it just gets forgotten. But the mystical view on the right shows us what's really going on. That day becomes a permanent cosmic record. It's not a memory, it's a living entity. And its content, it's immutable, locked in, unchangeable. It's basically a perfect, unhackable data log of your existence for that slice of time.
Now this is what's so wild, the level of detail, the granularity of the data that's being woven into this thing. This isn't just your greatest hits. The data is shaped by everything. The big spiritual stuff, sure, the mitzvot, the transgressions, but also all the neutral stuff, the public speeches and the private whispers, the focused prayers and the random thoughts you had while waiting in line, even the hidden intentions that nobody else could possibly know. And on top of all that, it's infused with your emotional energy, the bright glow of joy, the heavy weight of sadness, the warmth of love, the burning heat of anger. So each day becomes this complex, multi-layered being, a spiritual hologram that reflects you, inside and out, with perfect accuracy. So if these day entities are being created every 24 hours, where do they all go? They're not just floating around in space. The mystical sources describe this incredibly sophisticated spiritual infrastructure, a cosmic ledger system. And this system is actually mapped onto the blueprint of reality itself, what the Kabbalists call the Tree of Life, the 10 Sephirot. This is the divine architecture that processes and archives time itself.
This gives us a fantastic picture of the whole process. Think of it like a cosmic data pipeline. So, step one happens right here, in our physical world, which is called Malchut, the kingdom. This is the computer terminal, the point of data entry where every action, word, and thought gets logged. Step 2. When the day is done, its complete essence is channeled upwards through the pipeline of Yesod, the foundation. Yesod is like the spiritual internet, the secure network that uploads that finished data block. And finally, step 3, the day entity arrives in the realm of the upper Sephirot, the divine superconsciousness. And there it's archived and evaluated based on the cosmic principles of Chesed, which is kindness, and Gevurah, which is judgment.
So what do these archived day entities even look like? Well, the sources don't describe them in physical terms. They talk about them in terms of light and color and spiritual resonance. Each one has its own unique spiritual signature. So a day that was filled with chesed, with acts of true kindness, it literally shines with a brilliant, luminous light. A day that was dominated by givurah, anger, harshness, selfish acts, it looks like a dim shadow, absorbing light instead of giving it off. Days of tiferet, of harmony and balance, they radiate this clear, beautiful light. The energy of our actions, netzach, gives the day a certain energetic glow, while the purity of our intentions, hud, determines its internal color, its hue. Our life's archive is basically this vast tapestry woven from threads of light and shadow.
Okay, so this whole system, this incredibly detailed daily creation and archiving of our lives, it's not just for cosmic bookkeeping. It is all building up to one single ultimate moment. The sources, especially the Zohar, call this the Yom HaShushban, the day of accounting. This is the moment at the end of a person's life when that celestial archive is finally unsealed. The way the Zohar describes this moment is just breathtakingly cinematic. It's not an end, it's a huge shift in consciousness. Your physical senses start to fade as normal time seems to slow down and just stop. A whole new, higher perception wakes up, and the soul, right on the edge of leaving the body, is given a vision of what was always there but was hidden by the veil of the physical world. It gets a direct perception of the divine presence, the Shekinah. This line from the Zohar, this is the opening scene of the final act. Before the soul completely leaves the body, the wall between worlds just dissolves. It's a moment of incredible awe, total clarity, and absolute truth. And in that moment, as the soul stands in the light of the divine presence, a summons is issued. A call goes out from the King, the ultimate authority of all reality.
And here is the critical point, that summons isn't just for the soul. The call echoes through the cosmic ledger, deep into that living archive where your entire life is stored, and every single day entity you have ever created, from the day you were born to your very last breath, is called forth. They wake up. They are summoned to come and testify.
So let's just try to wrap our heads around the scale of this for a second. An 80-year life, that's almost 30,000 individual, living, conscious entities. Can you even picture that? It's not a list, it's a vast, luminous congregation. It's literally an army of your own yesterdays. And each one is a unique being, right? Some are shining with brilliant light, others are these deep, dim shadows, and everything in between. And now, just imagine, all of them rising up from the cosmic archives, ascending in this incredible silent procession, heading straight for the throne of the King. Wow.
And these aren't just silent, abstract records. The sources say they are living, breathing entities. They show up, echoing with the actual sounds from their 24 hours. The laughter, the arguments, the prayers, the songs you sang. They carry the sights, the smells, the entire emotional vibe of that time. It is a living history, a procession of almost 30,000 witnesses, each one an authentic piece of your soul, gathering to surround the throne of the King, waiting for the great review.
So why? Why this incredible, majestic gathering? What's the point of calling up this whole army of yesterdays? It's for the ultimate review, the great replay. The soul is about to encounter its entire life, not as a foggy memory, but as a living, breathing, full sensory reality.
Now, to make this ancient idea really click today, let's use a modern analogy. Think of your life as this epic video game. Each day was a new level you played. Some were intense boss battles, others were quiet story quests, maybe some were just repetitive grinding levels. Now, when the game is finally over, you don't just get a "you win" or "game over" screen. No, instead, you get to sit down with the ultimate game developer, the King. And together, you watch a perfect, high-def replay of every single level, every choice you made, every power-up you missed, every victory. It's not about judgment in that moment. It's about review and understanding and finally seeing the game for what it really was. Or, if you've got more of a technical brain, think of it like the ultimate systems audit. your life has been generating this distributed, unhackable ledger, a spiritual blockchain where each day is a new block, cryptographically sealed and added to the chain. At the end of your life, all these distributed locks, these day entities, are resynced and played back before the central server for a final complete evaluation. Every input, like your thoughts and intentions, every transaction, like your words and actions, and every outcome is reviewed with perfect data integrity. This is radical accountability in its absolute purest form.
What's so important to get here is that this isn't some courtroom drama where you're just sitting there waiting for a verdict. The Zohar says the soul and body give an accounting. The soul is an active participant in this review. It doesn't just watch its life, it re-experiences it. It finally understands the ripple effects of every single choice and witnesses the true spiritual quality of the days it built. It's this overwhelming, all-encompassing moment of absolute truth and self-realization.
And this really brings us to the ultimate point of all these ancient teachings. The Zohar and the mystics, they didn't share these secrets to make us afraid of some judgment day way off in the future. The entire reason for revealing this cosmic mechanic is to empower our lives right here, right now, in this moment.
So this is the final, powerful question this whole idea leaves us with. If we know, really know, that this very day, this ordinary Wednesday, this special Sunday, that it's not going to just disappear, but it's going to be formed into a living, eternal entity, an entity that will one day be called to stand as a witness before the King of Kings, how does that change how we live it? How are we going to choose to build this day? What light, what sounds, what intentions are we going to pack into its very soul? Realizing this is maybe the single greatest tool we could ever have for living a life of deep, profound, and eternal meaning.
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.